Welcome to another edition of BadgerBeat, our weekly look at the UW football team. This week's full Michigan State. Jim Polzine, there's already been some trash talk in this game. Michigan State's a rough team. Where do you see this shaking out in terms of how the Badgers handle this?
Well, clearly Michigan State's a team that likes to talk. I thought the interesting thing that came out of Brett Bielema's news conference today was that they actually planned this. They manufactured some trash talk in practice during the week. They had, last year he told a story about Marcus Trotter, a scout teamer, getting in the face of John Moffitt, and Moffitt didn't react well to it. So, you can't totally prepare for what you're going to see on Saturday with as much as Michigan State trash talks. But I thought it was interesting that at least they're trying to give UW a taste of what they're going to see.
Michigan State has 6 personal foul penalties in the game against Michigan on Saturday. They're playing in their house night game. I would expect a lot more of the same. That same note here, Tom Mulhern. What do you do to stop this UW offense? It's got to be more than just personal fouls.
Well, I think Michigan State's defensive philosophy is to get after the quarterback, and 16 sacks, and I think it's in the last 2 games, so they're going to come after Russell Wilson. Bielema said today that when Wilson was watching the early tapes of Michigan State's defense, he had a smile on his face. So if you're going to come after him, you better get him down, because if you're blitzing and you don't get him down, and with his mobility and his ability to run and make unblocked rushers miss, which we've all seen him do that, he can really hurt you. So I think they're going to come after him. I think it's going to be interesting to see how he handles it, and he's handled everything up until this point, and I would expect him to handle this as well.
Badgers getting into their second huge night game of the season. Obviously played UNLV in the opener too. There's been a lot of talk about this game dating to last year. Michigan State angry they lost and fell into a tie and didn't get into the Rose Bowl. Wisconsin mad. They started off the season poorly. Jim, who's got more motivation to win this game?
Well, it was interesting that, some of the UW guys said that that loss at Michigan State hurt more than the Rose Bowl loss, which is kind of an eye-opener. I think it's UW. There's a lot riding on this game. There's a lot of talk about, national championships around here, which obviously we don't talk about very often. And this, if you look at the rest of their schedule, this is their biggest roadblock standing in the way of that. So, and it's a place they didn't play well in last year. It's a place they haven't played well in, frankly, for, you got to go back to 2002 to see the last time they won. So I think it's UW that has more motivation.
Tom, how about yourself?
Well, it's interesting because, Michigan State won the game last year, so you would think that that's a big edge for the Badgers, yet Michigan State gets kept out of the Rose Bowl or BCS berth by tiebreakers that they weren't all that crazy about. Now, they didn't back up their feelings too strongly with their performance against Alabama in the bowl game, but I do think that, more so than you would think, given this scenario, I think Michigan State does have a little bit of an edge about the way things ended last season. So I think it's going to be, a lot of emotion on both sides, and that's how Michigan State likes to play, and I think this fuels into that.
Stick with us all week on madison.com. We'll have continuing coverage heading into Saturday night's game.